it's Michelle from the Scattered Scrapper. Welcome to my channel. Today is Scrap-O-WEEN Day 24. It is Kit Sunday. I have my pictures picked out. I have some papers from my kit picked out. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do is cut the branding strip off of this paper here. I'm going to be using it as my background. I just love this wood grain. It's so pretty. And then I'm kind of thinking, what am I going to do with this odd photograph? I call myself trying to be artsy or something, I guess, because it's not just straight on. So I'm going to trim it down. And at first I trim it down to a 4x4. And I'm like, okay, I can use this as a square. I can turn it on its side. Or turn it with like a diamond. And I'm going to trim this one down to be like a, I think it's like a 3x4. And I'm thinking, okay, I think I can do something with this. I had looked through my sketches to see if there were any that kind of had a different way of putting your picture instead of just straight on or at a slight angle. And I found one that had this kind of a grid pattern. So I'm basing this off of that sketch, but it doesn't end up exactly like I think it's going to. But I'm trimming up this tag here, and of course I have to get the little pieces off of it that it didn't trim exactly right. And I'm kind of thinking, which one of these papers do I want to use for which certain elements? And while I'm trying to think about that, I'm looking through these 3x4 cards and the tag cards to think, which ones am I going to want to use in my layout? And I love this one. This one is, or this one right here, is perfect for the journaling that I want to do. I have some things I want to say about the pictures, and I needed some room. So I wanted to make sure that I had the room to write my journaling. And then I use this one because this one and the plaid one are going to be my title base. And then I'm still not quite sure how I want to set things up, because this picture right here is throwing me off. So it's going to have to go like this. And I don't know that I'm ever going to take a picture with this angle again, but it's the way that I want to set up my layout. The picture's too big. So I think I'm going to be smart about it. I'm going to trim it down. And instead of it being 4 square, now it's 3.5. And that's going to help it look a little bit more balanced with the rest of the layout, because it's not so much bigger. And then I was going to use those dies to give the picture a background to sit on, a kind of mat. I thought about using a doily, but because of the weird size of the picture, I either have like a 3-inch doily or a 6-inch doily, and a 3-inch is too small and the 6 is too big, so we have to improvise. Let's see. And so I'm using this really pretty, I love this collection so much. Oh, it's so pretty. But decided to use the flower picture with the white background to help my elements stand out. And there I used those Tim Holtz or trees. Now here I'm going to cut a mat, and I have forgotten that I had trimmed my picture down from 4 to 3.5. So I cut my mat wrong. So I'm going to be real smart and try and measure it and figure out, okay, I'm just going to No. I, I am so measuring deficient. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But oh well. It is what it is. So now I have it right. And I'm going to get that glued down. And I really like using this little floral paper because it really helps everything really stand out against that beautiful wood grain. So here I am going to go ahead and get things glued down. And it takes me forever to make sure that it's just perfect with everything right, with the picture rather, right in the center. I'm sure it's probably off, but hey, that's all right. Now, I kind of liked it, I kind of like this the way that it was with the little points being visible, but I ended up covering them up. So now I'm kind of sad about that, but this works too. And here these tags have little holes, so I got to make my little tag holes. And then I'm figuring out exactly where I want to put it and then where I want to put my trees. And I'm going to be using these trees as my main cluster bases. So I'm happy with where everything's at on my page. So I go ahead and start gluing them down. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not really too worried about if it's perfectly straight or perfectly in the center. It's close enough that it's not bothering me, so I'm just going with it. So I'm going to get that down. And then my title, these stickers, I love them. They're beautiful. I haven't used them in forever. I don't think I've used them at all. So they're stuck to the paper. And I'm having a hard time separating them from their paper. They're like, no, we don't want to go. And then these don't want to stay on their paper. They have no sticky hardly at all. In fact, when I pulled them out of their package, half of them fell off onto the table. Oh, goodness. So here I'm figuring out, all right, where do I want to set my title? See, there's still some of that paper on it. So I peel that off and I get my title situated where I want it so that I can figure out where I want to put my tree. And the title for this one is Hello Falls because this waterfall that my husband is looking at and that I took a picture of, it's called Grace's High Falls, and it only flows when there's been enough rain. So it's kind of seasonal around that area because it rains mostly in the fall and the winter. And since we were there for the fall to look at the fall foliage and stuff, this is at Little River Canyon. And we'd been there many times over the summers to go swimming and camping and everything, but we'd never seen the falls flowing. But we were so fortunate this time when we were there to look at the fall leaves. It had rained quite a bit, a few days before we had gone up there, so we finally got to see the falls flowing. And this particular falls is the tallest waterfall in Alabama. So we were really excited. So I'm going through all of these die cuts to find me some things to decorate because I've got my basic layout done. So now I just need to make it pretty. So I'm just going through these and I found the blessings that I put on the bottom because it was such a blessing to be able to see the falls. And I also had, while I was waxing poetic, I guess, about the falls, I put some little bows in my tags up there. And I'm looking for little things because I need some small things. And I found these boots and I figured, hey, we're hiking around, so the boots is perfect. And I'm looking, and I'm getting out all of the little leaves. There's an acorn there. There's a couple of little flower sprigs. And I've got my chipboard here. And I was kind of hoping that there was, the boots was on that chipboard, but it isn't. So I'm going to end up putting my boots on some foam. But first here I'm going to glue down my trees because I've got my tree where I want it. So I need to make sure it stays there. And I'm really thankful for this teeny tiny nozzle on that art glitter glue, because that would have really been a pain to try and use my quick tacky glue or whatever it is. Yeah, my Scotch tacky glue, because it don't have quite that pointy of a nozzle. So at first I think I'm going to, oh, look at that. See, that's peeling apart. It's way too stuck. I got to get my stuff used because they're starting to, I don't know what they're doing, but it didn't want to come off. But I thought about using that little flower sprig up there, but it was a little too small for my tree. My tree was quite wide. This one's taller and more narrow, so I'm going to put my little flower chipboard down there with that tree, and it'll be perfect. And see, here's where I put the foam behind the boots. And I'm about ready to just give up on trying to use my ATG with this foam, because it fights me every time I try to put it on there. So here's where I put that little flower spray down at the bottom, and that looks much more balanced. And then I'm just going to glue down my little bows. And you're seeing why I'm the scattered scrapper, because I did not even finish putting my boots down. And here's where I fight with the ATG, and I'm like, nah, I'm just going to get my glue out. I'm not going to deal with it. Oh, goodness. So, because I keep scattering around, I flitter from one little section to another little section, and I don't even quite finish what I'm doing. So I'm just scattered around. So here I'm wanting to put a little bit more decoration and kind of build this cluster up a little bit. So I put these little leaves under here, and immediately I don't like it. So I take that away. And I'm going to look and see if I can get some flowers up at the top. I really was kind of hoping to get something up there. And I think I could have put this little small flower up here, but I didn't like it. So back down to this bottom one I go. And I really like how this is looking, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And then, let's see. I'm going to look at my little brads, these adhesive brads, and I don't really see what I want to do with them at first, but they'll come back into play. And here I've got my sticker sheet, and I see this little heart with the 2 leaves, and I'm like, oh, that would be perfect up here on the top of my journal card. So I just repeat how it was on the sticker sheet and put it on there. I think, oh, that looks cute. I like that. So, and I'm looking through, and I'm sorry you can't really see it, but I'm looking for the words. There we go. I'm looking at the little word stickers, and I'm going to put this love up here on the waterfall because I'm loving that we got to see it. And I'm looking for something else, if there's anything else that I can put on the picture of my husband standing there looking at the falls. And I get my Puffy stickers, and I love the Puffy stickers, but I'm really disappointed because a lot of them are printed a little to the side. You can kind of see with that squirrel there. And some of these leaves are like that. There's no white border on one side, and then there's a big wide white border on the other. And this one had the little word sticker, and it says thankful, because I'm thankful for him. So I have a little heart there, but I decided not to use that little heart. I'm going to use the brad. So here the brad comes back into play. And I'm like, oh, I love that. That's really good. And then I'm like, ooh, I can put a flower here. But I didn't like that flower there because it was the same color as my brad. So I get this little yellow one. And I just stick it down in there for a little cluster, and I love how that turned out. I love how that accents the photo. So I don't know, maybe I will take a picture like this another time and figure out fun ways to put them on layouts. And I put a brad up there by the love, and it's a blue one to kind of pull in some more of the blue that's in the tag under the hello. Has the blue flowers. And then I put one there beside blessings, and now I'm going to write my journaling, and I just talk about how we got to finally see Grace's High Falls. And that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. And here you can see the close-ups. There's the falls. It's so pretty. Tomorrow is Sketchy Monday, so I hope to see you there. Bye-bye.